Welcome to Winning in the Workplace. I'm Gordy Rush. He is Maurice Velasquez from Team Real World. How are you?
Hey, Gordy. Good morning. Good afternoon. Hello, everybody.
It's a beautiful day,
It is.
and it's a beautiful day to talk about a topic that's not always easy to
It's
deal
not
with.
easy. It's not easy. It's really hard because this is where we're going to talk about the whole show, the trappings and the frustrations that managers and supervisors feel of when they're not able to get their employees to rise up to the occasion and become the great employees they want. They get pressure from everybody, especially from the supervisors. Why is such and such not performing? And then how in the world do you get ahead when you're trying to do so much? And so
right.
that's what it's all about.
And every company goes through a time in which they have toxic employees.
Yes.
And
Well,
we're going to talk about,
why don't we start off with
preventing
that?
them.
Yeah. Why don't we start with that? Okay. All right. So toxic employees. All right. Let's talk about that. What do you mean by toxic?
Well, I think toxic employees, in my mind, are people that disturb or are hurting the culture that you as a leader
Right.
are trying to establish.
Right.
And
yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard. The biggest problem, I think, is that a lot of supervisors and managers, when they think in terms of their toxic employees, they've already given up on them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they make comments like, "Well, they're unsalvageable," and how can we get rid of them? And a lot of times you do have to get rid of them. So let's break it up into an 80-20.
Okay.
20% of those toxic employees probably should have never been hired. Okay. Or within the first 90 days, it was clear that it was not going to work out. So can we just say a good 20%?
No, I'm fair with that.
There's good training, there's good oversight, there's good interaction with them. The company's doing its job to make sure that they have all the resources, but then they go toxic, and there's just people out there that you just can't please them. This wasn't the right job for them. There's other whatever, or their attitude, and it's just a bad hire from the beginning. Let's put those in the 20% category.
Okay.
Because I think this is where the disagreement is most people think that toxic employees are the 60%. Okay. I don't think so. And what I'm encouraging all of our listeners, and what I encourage our clients, is to don't think of toxic employees that they're toxic most of the time.
So the 80%
are those that became toxic.
Got you.
That were good employees.
But
what happened? Ultimately, bottom line, problems were not resolved.
Right.
That's really what it boils down to. And the toxic employees are the ones that are going to be verbal about the fact that they're not happy. It's that squeaky wheel.
Right.
All right. And so ask yourself, let me ask you a question, Gordy. Who's your best client? Those clients that call you angry and upset because you let them down, or those clients that never call you and they leave you?
The ones they're angry and upset.
Exactly.
They care enough to tell you.
There
Sure.
you go. So
Right.
let's apply that to the employees.
Right.
Okay? Employees who start becoming vocal about the fact that they're not happy, we immediately as a company classify them as problem employees. They have a bad attitude, okay? Well, then no one goes to their rescue, but really, you just answered, the best clients are the ones who complain.
Right.
But when it comes to employees, what do we say about those that complain?
They're the worst.
They're the worst.
Right.
Well, we have to change our mindset.
Got you.
Whenever an employee starts being vocal about the problems, the supervisors need to realize that's your best friend. Okay, and here's the way. Tell me if you don't experience it. I experience this a lot. A manager has 5, 6, 7, 10 employees, right? And the most vocal, the one that's the hothead, the one that's becoming toxic, they go to the supervisor and they say, "Hey, look, I want to talk to you, and I think I'm representing everybody else."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that frustrates managers.
Right.
They hate to hear that. So then the manager says, "Well, I'm gonna have to go find out from everybody else if that's the case." Right?
Right.
I say, what are you doing? Do you really think the others that aren't speaking up are going to come and tell you now that you're going to put them on the spot? No.
Right.
And then they're going to say, hey, such and such colleague of yours said ABC. Man, those employees are usually the passive ones or the ones that are introverts. They're going to run away from that conflict, and they will throw that colleague under the bus. Well, I don't know. I didn't tell him to do that. I didn't tell him to say that. And so what the manager misses is they miss an opportunity to listen to what the problems are. Because what's happened is they've gossiped around each other, and they have officially or unofficially designated that hothead to be the one that goes up. Right?
Right.
And so if the hothead goes up, at least that person is trying to be a leader. And then we don't let them. We say, you know what? Stop. You're not. It's not your job to represent everybody else. And then we don't accept that leadership, and ultimately we don't fix the problem. Everybody else is willing to live in the company with problems, except the 2 or 3 hotheads, and they're willing to be fired because they don't want to work in a company that doesn't fix problems. And so the company loses some of its best employees because they don't fix the problems that the hotheads are trying to bring attention to. They're classified as toxic, and then that energy goes out, and then you're left with who? The ones that are okay
Right.
with just whatever.
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because in retrospect, when I think of my experience with people that are actually toxic, is that are the people that are trouble, and the people that eventually you wind up moving out of there are not the ones that speak up.
Right.
They're the ones that are hiding. They're the
Correct.
ones that are
Correct.
feeding underneath, but will never come and vet that to your
Yeah,
face.
and you have to just recognize this is why it's so important for managers and supervisors to understand personality differences. You're going to have 60 to 70% of your staff that are the introverted kind, okay? They're not going to cause conflict, okay? I heard it once say that an introverted passive individual, if they were a flight attendant, a stewardess or a
Right,
steward,
right.
okay, they would be rather risk the plane hitting the mountain than to go tell the pilot and create conflict that we're running out of gas. And so the introverts just don't. That's not their strength to go and create noise, but it is the strength of those personalities in the more heated, what we're calling toxic employees, to be the ones who speak up on behalf of the team.
Got you.
The most successful thing that a supervisor and a manager can do is go connect with those guys because they're the first they're the first followers,
Right.
who are helping to represent the issues, the real issues, and they're telling you the truth.
Interesting. Regardless of performance or anything else, these are the loudest, the people
Without a
that are
doubt.
going to bring anything.
As a matter of
everything
fact,
to you. Right.
the loudmouths may be the ones who are performing the least.
Yeah.
But they're doing you a key favor, and that's what?
They're bringing the issues to
They're
you.
telling you what the issues are. And then if you fix those problems, what happens to the team?
Well, they're going to go back and change their
They
tune and go back
realize
and
that
feed it to the
worked.
team.
And so that's why they go toxic.
Interesting. Yeah.
They go toxic because some people, 20% just, you're not going to fix that. The 80% is what you're trying to salvage. And the supervisors and managers need to understand this mentality that we just talked about today.
You know, you talked about a couple of points, and the 80% are people that you hire that are not toxic at first,
Correct.
but turn that way.
Right.
In my experience, and I'll bounce this off of you, that they often are the ones in which the perception of where they are,
Right.
they think they are, which
Correct.
is higher than the reality of where I think they're perceived by management. When you get something that's out of whack and somebody thinks there's a little bit more worth and what have you, that's been one of the things that I think that have turned people toxic.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because they feel like you can't do anything about any of this.
That's
It's gonna
one-
it's
yeah.
gonna go nowhere.
That, and probably the other thing is people that are content. You know, they come out hungry and they get to a point and then they're content with where they are.
That's right.
And they shut it down, and they're going to resist
Yeah. Yeah.
any sort of management or motivation to grow.
That's right. Somebody asked Henry Ford once, what if we spend all this time, energy, and training on people and then they quit on us?
Yeah.
Okay. His response was, okay, you're right, but think about the alternative. What if we don't
That's
train them
right.
and they stay? So let's apply it to this. Well, what if you have a bunch of toxic people, and they create all this noise about all the problems that are happening? The answer is, well, what if we get left with those that won't speak up?
That's right.
Okay, because we don't want to hear drama.
Right.
Managers, supervisors, executives, leaders at the top, they don't want to hear drama. And because there's drama, they go, somebody's got to quiet those guys that have a bad attitude. No, they don't have a bad attitude. They're just upset that all you're offering me is Christmas parties, dinners, money here, money there. But when we come back from all those parties and events, okay, I come back to Monday morning, and what's still there waiting for me? The same problems that you guys are not paying attention to.
Interesting. So to recap, how to prevent toxic employees.
Listen to your employees.
You want to listen to those that are willing to speak up and address those head on.
And fix those problems. Run to the problems and fix them.
Interesting. All right, Maurice, you've done a great job over the years handling this. How can folks get in touch with you if they're struggling with a toxic environment?
Best place is go to our website, www.teamrealworld.com, or call us at 225-772-4357.
All right, again, that is Team Real World. We'll take a timeout when we come back. We'll talk more about this on Winning in the Workplace.